Hey everybody, I'm Jackie. I'm back here with Tasha or Tasha. Do you like Tasha or Tasha?
Tasha.
Tasha. Okay, that's what I thought, but I wanted to make sure. Tasha is another support group leader from the Alpha One Foundation, and she's here today to share her story. So, welcome back to another podcast of Alpha One COPD Connected, tethered together by hope. So, Tasha, just go ahead and tell us your story if you would.
Okay, yeah. My story started about a year before I ever found out about Alpha One. My oldest son was born and he had all kinds of medical stuff going on. He's 15 and still undiagnosed. But dealing with that baby in and out of the hospital, running all these tests, I ended up finding out I was expecting my second child and I was terrified. She was born and she didn't look like her brother. She seemed healthy. Everything was great until 6 weeks old. And at 6 weeks old, she was in liver failure. So we were at the Children's Hospital at Dornbecker. It's part of a university teaching hospital. They ran a bunch of tests. They told us that Life Flight was waiting. They had a liver for her in San Francisco. We were like waiting by the hour check in to go to get this liver transplant. And then they came back and said, she has alpha 1 antitrypsin deficiency. The doctor wrote it down on the bed paper, wrote the name down so that we'd be able to spell it and find it and Google it because we're like, what would you say? And they still were like on a wait per hour to see how her liver was responding to ursodiol, which is a medication that helps like move the bile through because it was all just stuck in there from the liver failure from her proteins being kind of globbed up in there. And so she ended up not getting that transplant. So that was really good. They called it off. We stayed in the hospital for a few days. She had a PICC line to administer this medication, and she is now 14, no transplant. And we continue to monitor all of her liver numbers annually, sometimes 6 months, sometimes 3 months, depends on how she's doing, really. If she's having a flare up, I take her in. But to go back to that, my first child is also a ZZ and had no idea. He had all this other stuff going on that we didn't even catch that or know about that. He was diagnosed with asthma, lots of pneumonia when he was little, and he started COPD medications at 9. But
Wow,
he's off of them now.
great.
Just kind of monitoring, but he's like doing better. As he's grown, his airway has gotten bigger. It was kind of small on top of having asthma and alpha. It made it hard, but now he's gotten bigger. His airway has grown. He did some orthodontics to try to like bring his jaw forward and open up that airway too. That's helped his breathing a little better. We haven't had pneumonia for probably like 5 years, I think.
Oh, good.
So
That's
that's
good.
really good, yeah. And that kind of is the story of how I found out about alpha, but then how I got involved with everything changes too. We were told we have this, it's rare, so I never even looked for other people or looked into it. My aunt told me that there was a walk in Portland, and I was like, a walk? I was thinking it was going to be like a breast cancer walk, like this big whole thing that people would show up, everybody would know, right? It'd be like thousands of
Yeah.
people. So I was like, okay, cool. I signed up for it. I actually had funny story. My son connected with through like a kind of like a Make-A-Wish program for our local college. They had him
Oh,
come
cool.
and meet the football team and hang out with them and all that. And he really connected with one of the players.
Oh,
So I invited
nice.
that player to come to the walk with us. And he did. He showed up and it was like 12 people at the walk. And I was like, oh, this is so much more awkward. They all know each other and I don't know any of them.
Yeah.
I met Mary, who is now my co-leader. I met her and her husband first. They're the first ones to like approach us and talk to us. Her husband was like, "So which one of you is the alpha?" And we're like, "Not us. Like it's our kids." I also didn't even know. I had no idea. Like did not research. Didn't know that it wasn't normal that, kids get diagnosed. I mean, it's getting more prevalent now, but
Yeah.
15 years ago it was like you weren't diagnosed till you were an adult mostly. So
Right.
they were all like, oh, wow. So my kids were the first kids in the group and
Nice.
kind of still have been that way. We just got another, not that I want kids, but I mean, I'm glad they're diagnosed early. Like, we can't help it.
Right.
It's genetics. They have it. It is what it is. But I'm glad that we're starting to get some kids. That means that they're being told sooner so they can live a better life and try to avoid, contaminants and alcohol and stuff so that they don't get sick as fast, hopefully.
Right. Great.
So, yeah, he shows up and he's like expecting like, where's everybody at? And I was like, I don't know. I thought this was a big thing. I expected like a whole deal like with other medical conditions, and it's just 12 people. And then we do the walk. He's playing with the kids the whole time, and Stan and Mary are chatting with us. And then Dr. Barker, who's our resource center doctor in Oregon, he's like, I need you to come back tonight. We're having a little cocktail party thing.
Oh, nice.
Cocktail party, right? An hors d'oeuvres party. Um, and I was like, okay. So we went bowling, and I came back and sat in on that and met some more people and talked to them. And then the next day they were doing an education day, and he's like, come back. And I was like, oh, but I'm not registered. And he's like, doesn't matter. Come back. I was like, okay. So I came back the
Nice.
next day. I just kind of like got roped in just because of this walk my aunt told me. Yeah. And then at my first support group meeting I went to, I was asked if I wanted to be a support group leader. And I was like, oh, I don't know. I guess. I don't know what that means.
Right.
But I've learned
Good.
so much. That was about 7 years ago that we kind of discovered and researched. Again, my kids are 15 and 14, so I learned about this 14 years ago and didn't do anything with it, mainly because also my oldest child has a lot more undiagnosed conditions that we've been still
Hmm.
trying to search for. We've been to NIH, we've
Wow.
been to Stanford, we've been to Mayo Clinic,
Wow.
the two research hospitals here in Oregon too, and he still is undiagnosed for all of his other stuff.
Goodness. I had the pleasure of getting to meet him and your daughter this year in the kids room because I volunteered in the kids room. And of course I've seen the babies and at the conferences,
Yeah.
but that was my first time seeing your older two. They're
Yeah.
really good kids. They're great
Thank
kids.
you.
Hmm.
I love them so much.
Yeah.
Obviously they're mine.
Right.
No, they have made me learn a lot. Not just because of their medical. I mean, obviously when you become a parent, like you just have to learn as you go. There's no real roadmap. But it's
Right.
a whole nother level when you have children who are sick. They, as you say, they're doing well. Like they're fine. They're stable for the most part. Savannah's liver still, and her spleen is starting to be affected. That's one thing I actually did want to talk about. I've been part of the foundation for 7 years, and not once have I heard about spleen issues through any of
Mm.
the conference talks, ed day talks, just like having people come on and talk at support group meetings. I have not. And then all of a sudden she had splenomegaly. Her spleen numbers were bad. Her platelets were bad. She had to do like vitamin K, which is very expensive, like $300 a pill. She had to do that for a few
My
more months.
goodness. Wow.
I mean, not as expensive as augmentation therapy, but
Right.
pill for
Still.
a pill is
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Right. Wow.
So when I started to ask, like, is this part of the alpha 1? The doctors are like, well, yeah, of course. The spleen and your liver are directly connected through the portal vein. And when your liver's not functioning properly, it'll back up to the spleen. So that's what's happened. Her flow of her blood is supposed to go, I think, through the spleen to the liver, but it's going the other way. And now, yeah, so it's called a reverse flow, reverse antegrade flow, whatever, and portal vein hypertension. So the flow's going backwards and it's making her spleen take on the job that the liver would be doing, but the spleen's not really set up for that. So it's starting to get bigger. It's causing pain. Every
Yeah.
time she has inflammation and swelling, it hurts. And that's another thing that doctors are like, oh, you can't feel your liver. Well, you might not be able to feel your liver, but you can feel when it's inflamed.
You know what? I am so, and I mean, I love our doctors, but I'm so tired of hearing that your liver don't have pain. I mean, I've had pain even before I knew I had alpha one. I've had this right side bottom pain that I could never figure out, and they kept saying, "No, it's nothing," and they still nothing. And I can tell my husband, I'll tell him I'm hurting today. My liver must be something. It's not, it's angry at something because I can feel it. And
Yeah.
I don't know how many other alphas I've talked to that said the same thing. And I hear you. I believe it. I truly believe it.
Yeah, I don't get why they say you can't feel it because
Yeah.
she'll be balled up, crying all day long. I
Hmm.
mean, usually it lasts a couple days of like severe pain and then it kind of eases. In those moments, I've taken her to the ER. They've checked for appendicitis and they're like, oh, well, yeah, her liver numbers are off, but they don't do anything for it. That's the thing. For pediatrics, we're not doing any treatment at the moment. there's no liver treatment that's approved yet, and their lung function is not low enough to treat with augmentation for lungs. That's kind of a frustrating part about being a parent of an alpha kid. I'm glad I know ahead of time to keep them from doing things that can make them worse, but it's really frustrating that we can't do anything about it. We have no
Yeah.
treatment to help prolong those lung function. They won't, what's that called? Like when they give you something proactively or before you need it, right? If they were giving it to them before they lost function, wouldn't it preserve function? That's
Right.
kind
Yeah.
of the
I
thing.
never figured that out. Why that was. I don't know.
Yeah, me neither. Other than like, well, also kids don't want to be poked every week.
Yeah. Right. Right.
So this whole journey with Alpha One though has gotten me beyond where I thought I'd be personally as a person. Like I've done talks at national conference. I've done talks at Ed Days, just meeting people and being social. I was the shyest person growing up. I could not order my food even when I was 18 years old. I'd be like, Mom,
Me too. I've been the same way. Not that bad, but I'm shy too. So I'm surprised I could do what I do too. You
yeah,
know, stand up in front of people in a support group meeting, even the first thing. But that's what I wanted to though. I mean, as soon as I first went to my first ed day and seeing the support group leaders there, I thought, you know what, that's what I want to do. I don't know what the heck I'm doing or even know about, Alpha One, because that was a month out of me being diagnosed. But I thought, I'm going to learn so I can do that. Little did I
yeah,
know I was just going to learn as I went. I, like you, became a support group leader like right away after went to my first conference. But we do what you do. I can't imagine too. Sorry, I was thinking about being a mom, having your kids diagnosed with this, how different it must be for you as for like me being grown. And I'm like, okay, but to be a mom, I just can't imagine that. I mean, I feel like, of course, all my kids are MZs and I fear for them, but just to think about that young and that being the first time you're finding out, when they're diagnosed, I just can't imagine that. So
yeah.
I
It
feel
was
for you.
in the hospital that moment, like while she was diagnosed with liver failure, and I thought she was fine, and I already had a sick child with all kinds.
Mm,
He has heart. Let me like recap for the people that don't know. He has heart defects. He has neurological defects. Parts of his brain are shrinking. Parts of his spinal cord are shrinking. He has facial paralysis. Finding out that she had liver failure, I like couldn't even comprehend. In that moment, it almost felt like I was babysitting another sick child. Like I had
mm.
not associated that as like, oh yeah, this is my life, this is my kid. I just felt like, okay, I have to take care of this baby. But I hadn't, she was 6 weeks old and I had another very chronically ill child and I hadn't felt like she was mine yet. And I mean, it's terrible to say, but it's
No,
just the way it felt.
I kind of understand. Just for the fact, not completely understand, but if I think about when I was taking care of my dad, he was in hospice, and this is nothing comparable to that. But what I'm saying is, I was just the caregiver at that time. I wasn't his daughter. I felt like, I mean, I was on a mission to do what I had to do and,
Yeah,
not
you're
worry
in
about
fight
the
or flight
aspect.
mode. Exactly. Like my
Yeah.
whole thing is I just felt like I had to take care of her and get whatever, like get the diagnosis, get the liver transplant, get the treatment, whatever. I just felt like I was in the care role only, not in a mom role. Like I wasn't enjoying
Mhm.
the infancy. I wasn't snuggled up with my
Yeah.
baby. Like it was strange. It was very weird and not normal. But then obviously I got to bring her home again after that and then we started to bond and get to hold her and then it was really a relief once the nurse stopped coming and the pick line was out, and it just felt a little more like, okay, this is my baby. She's gonna be okay. Like, I think I was disassociating too because I didn't know if I was gonna lose her.
Yeah. I can't imagine.
Um, that was a rough time,
Yeah.
but obviously she's doing okay, and we're very
Wonderful.
happy for that. I now am really involved with the advocacy part of it because I think that, continuing to make sure that they have access to health care. Stay out of it. No. access to
That's
the
okay.
healthcare that they're going to need as adults is kind of my next step because they're almost adults. And I realized, like, okay, what do I do for them after? Like, I've been mom, I've made sure they took their medicine, I've made sure I got them to their doctor's appointments. What can I do for their next stage in life? And that's to use my voice, to use my story, to go to Washington, to go to our state capitol and ask that they be thought of when they're making decisions on healthcare. Don't forget about rare diseases, and that policies that will, like the John Walsh Infusion Act, that's something they don't need yet, but they'll need it in the
Right.
future. And it's going to be big for them and for all alphas currently and future alphas. So really trying
Right.
to work on the advocacy part right now and spread
Thank
awareness.
you. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yep. And that's kind of why I started the videos. Actually, I've been wanting to do them for years, and just thought, oh, I don't have the equipment. I can't do it. I don't have, and I put it off and put it off. I thought, you know what? If I don't start now, when, and so I just feel like things have come a long way, and still have a long way to go. But that's just kind of why I wanted to get these awareness videos out. So many people are watching YouTube all the time or, watching TikTok or stuff. And I thought,
Yeah.
well, I've seen it out there, but I just like to hear everybody's story. And I want to know too. I'm curious, but I know everybody needs to hear us. We have so many undiagnosed out there that need to get diagnosed. So
Well, that and
thank you
even
for
the
what you do.
MZ, yes, the MZ population is growing, which is, they need to take more initiative and understanding. And some of them are going to be fine. That's
Right,
great. But then there's like
right.
my husband who has emphysema and he's an MZ. Didn't smoke except for like maybe a year and a half as a teenager, and now he's 40
Yeah,
with emphysema.
yeah. I didn't realize he had that.
So we're working on trying to get him to one of the alpha doctors and maybe start infusions. He travels a lot for work, so I don't know if we can do infusions.
I
Hey,
think he can. You might even be able to learn to self-infuse. I know quite a few alphas who self-infuse
yeah,
or maybe schedule it around traveling. So, and some people do it like every 2 weeks instead of every week.
yeah.
So I still work with them.
Yeah. And then I just got evaluated for liver stuff. So as an
Did
MZ,
you?
I'm okay. I'm at like barely like a tenth into stage 1 fibrosis. So basically, I'm still like F0, F1, like right on the borderline.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm having iron overload issues. My iron level is too high. Um, and they think that it's contributed. They've done like hemochromatosis tests, not that. So they think it's just the alpha 1 and the liver is holding too much iron. So there's lots of things that pop up as an MZ that's still
Right.
asymptomatic essentially, but
Right, exactly. I think I know more MZs that have problems than I do of, ZZs or, any other.
okay.
There's a lot of different things.
Wednesday. And the little one is an MZ as well. So far, everything's been fine. I mean, which is good because when I was his age, I had terrible asthma too, but he's no asthma.
Oh,
All
that's
of his
good.
liver numbers look good. We've
So
tested.
you are all alphas then. Wow.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I guess you only have a 25% chance of not being one if you got two MZ parents.
Right, right, right. Exactly. Yeah. Well, is there anything else that you want to share?
Just about like what you're doing is great. And I want to encourage other alphas to share their story however they can. We created a float to spread awareness. If you just talk to people
Yeah.
in the grocery store, wear your alpha shirts so people ask questions, the more awareness there is, the more attention will be on the disease, which increases the likelihood of research, people signing up to research new drugs and funding for new research or even current research. It just increases it all, and that's the way we're going to find the answer.
Diagnosed. Like I know you said that you were the only parent in your group.
Yep.
We haven't had any kids in ours. We do have a kid, one alpha kid, and we've met him only once. And so, and both me and Deb, my co-leader, are both liver affected. She has cirrhosis, and I just have stage 2 fibrosis. But we don't have any other liver affected people in our group, so we don't talk about liver often, but don't probably know as much as other people know about the liver. So, what advice do you think you have for new moms out there?
Well, I think the most important advice would actually come from to the doctors. They need to tell the parents about the foundation and about support groups because I didn't know anything about it. I was just told the diagnosis. and took 7 years to get connected to the foundation and find people that
Oh my
now, like I
goodness.
said, we're all thriving in this community of knowing that we're doing something to help. But as far as moms, like I just try to focus on that most, there's always an outlier, right? So you can't say everyone, but most kids will improve slowly. And it is slow. It's slow. Like labs will be very elevated for years. And then finally they're starting
Yeah.
to look better, which is weird. Her liver labs are looking better, but yet her spleen is now being affected. So I think it's because the liver's not doing so much of the load. It's pushing it
Yeah.
off to the spleen, but now the spleen's getting affected. So also take labs with a grain of salt because they don't necessarily tell you exactly what's going on.
Right. With that, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sometimes like her liver numbers were very high and they said she's like functioning fine. It didn't feel too inflamed and they did the fibro scan and it was like, oh, it's okay. Well, I mean, elastography now, I guess. And then other times she's in incredible pain and they're like, oh, her liver numbers are okay, but we'll do an ultrasound. And they're like, oh, yeah, there's some stiffness going on. She's also stage 2 fibrosis and
Oh,
then the splenomegaly. So I think it's just you gotta stay focused but not stressed. Don't worry about
yeah.
it. Don't panic because if you panic, you're just not going to be in the right mindset to kind of go in the direction of being helpful. If you're just panicked all the time, you just kind of poor me, what's my life up to? Oh my gosh, and don't internalize it. It's not your fault. It's just a tool
Right.
for you to move forward in life and learn a new path and become a stronger person.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for everything that you do. I know us older alphas appreciate you moms and stuff out there that are, you know, like we said many times, people see us and like, oh, well, they're older, there's, they don't need whatever, but it's your moms out there and the kids that are, helping to move things along, I believe. And I thank you for all you guys do, all you younger moms and the alpha kids. Thank you very much. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Absolutely. And I think you're right on that. Like, if a disease is only affecting an older population, it's less likely to get attention and needing a cure. But with the kids are getting diagnosed sooner, it'll become a more pressing matter that these kids have a whole life to live and we got to do something about
Right.
it. So I'm glad that they're getting testing done quicker and sooner, but it's still
Yeah.
not where it needs to be.
Right.
And then hopefully that also will cut down. You know how many alphas say, oh, yeah, I smoked for this long, I smoked for that long, or I worked in this.
Yeah.
But if you know as a kid, your likelihood of
Right.
doing that is much reduced.
Right. I'm sure I would have, I hope I wouldn't smoke if I would have known about this when I was younger,
Yeah.
and maybe drank as much as I did, as as we're younger, and some tend to do. So I feel like
Yeah.
if I would have known younger, I probably would have lived a healthier lifestyle and wouldn't use some of the cleaning products I used or worked, some of the stuff I worked with. And
Yeah. Because you just
so,
didn't know. And that's the thing.
right,
So better education, earlier detection, more awareness. That's where it's
right.
at.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Natasha. It was so nice talking to you, and I'll let you get back to your Sunday with the
All
kids.
right.
So take care.
Thanks.